We are now just a couple of weeks away from hearing from the RBA on interest rates. Not just everyday Australians waiting for the announcement. The federal government is desperate for a rate drop. Joining me live is Tom Forrest, CEO of Urban Taskforce Australia. Tom, I won't put you on the spot, but will the RBA drop the rates?
We certainly hope so. Like everyone else, we're all holding our breath. One of the key things that's damaged the property sector is the very, very high holding costs. It's not just borrowers that are damaged by high interest rates. It's pretty much the whole economy. And so when our development community go out and purchase land for the purposes of development of new houses and new employment opportunities, we pay interest on that. And we don't pay the headline household mortgage rate. We tend to pay somewhere between 8 and 15%. So you can imagine that we're all holding our breath in great hope that some of that interest rate pressure is relieved, and looking forward to that indeed.
It is extraordinary, isn't it? Because I was sitting here a few years ago and the then RBA governor was saying there'll be no interest rate rises, and then boom, crash opera, there were 13 of them. And it just shook and surprised so many people who had their forward planning. And we don't know what happens tomorrow, but this was just outrageous.
It was certainly a shock to all of those home buyers who had seen housing prices go up and up and up in the context of the post-COVID shortages in housing supply. And they thought they were okay to pay off those mortgages, for at least for a couple of years. They were locking in to lower interest rates. They thought they were being told by the governor of the Reserve Bank, you're good for at least 24 months. Turned out not to be the case. I think the governor of the Reserve Bank perhaps was the only economist in Australia who actually thought that was true. But nonetheless, that doesn't help the punters out there who quite reasonably place faith in what they hear from the governor of the Reserve Bank.
Oh, absolutely. And that segues into a story today about mortgage holders facing high interest rates and cost of living pressures, and they're beginning to falter.
Yes, indeed. What really hit people hard is where they were locked into a fixed interest rate loan at a relatively low rate, and then they came back and when that low interest rate loan period ended, bang, they were hit with double the repayments overnight. Thankfully, we haven't been smashed with defaults too badly at this point, but it really does highlight the fact that we need to now be looking to reduce those interest rates so that we don't turn the economy into a recession.
As you and I were growing up, it was footballs, meat pies, kangaroos and Holden cars and backyards. They were some of the symbols of an Australian life, an Australian dream. And it looks like the backyard's under threat. Tell me more.
Well, perhaps we've got to consider how, if we're going to continue growing our economy and paying for the ageing demographic of our society, we have to pay for their aged care, quite rightly so. We have to pay for their health care, but they're big bills coming forward as we have fewer people working and more people leaving the workforce. The only real way we can do that is to grow the economy with an increased population. That brings stresses and strains, of course. We've got to consider, at least where we've got the infrastructure, going up, higher density in the suburbs, and that's going to change the character of some places. But I say, let's make sure we can still kick the football around. Let's ensure that there are public open spaces. Let's ensure that we have got proper solar access so people can enjoy that Australian sun. It's a balance, but we do have to consider change if we're to host the population growth that we need to pay, as I said, for the burden that the taxpayer faces going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a delicate balance, Tom. It's good to talk. Let's do it again soon.
A pleasure. Thank you.